Well, you've chosen to start studying drama at All Saints and at Scots and at the college in the future, which is fantastic news. We're going to have an absolute cracker of a time. I can't think of a subject that allows you to explore such creative parts of yourself in a way that gives you a chance to free up your expression in a very dynamic way, as well as having a great theoretical framework and a basis. And the whole point is to get up on one of these things, which is a stage, and fill all those things which are the seats. Now that, if you don't know, is of course the Orange Civic Theatre, and that was me taking a photo probably about 3 hours before we went for the opening night of Jesus Christ Superstar a couple of years ago, and we filled that hall a few times over. So it's by the end of things, it gets pretty important and pretty big and pretty serious, but a lot of fun. Now, don't just expect there to be just games and silliness. There will be considerable parts of that in our course, but more than that, there will be an ability for you to really work closely with your peers. The group dynamic is everything in drama. It means a lot to all of us who study that particular course, because you have to work with each other on the stage. There is a chance to do the monologue, and there is a chance to do all sorts of other parts of theatre work, as I'm doing there, a bit of stage management, as you can see, or you can't really see me, but anyway. So get used to working with your fellow students. Get used to working in terms of a group mark and a group dynamic, knowing full well that everyone's marked individually. Don't panic. So, for those of you in Year 9 and 10, we're going to look at things like the Commedia dell'arte, which was really the rebirth of the modern Western European theatrical idea that came from an origin of Greek and theatre like that. Lost itself a bit with medieval theatre, but started to build up again in that Renaissance and go out on the streets and create stock characters and clowning devices and stock moves and so forth that you'll learn. We're also going to look into play building, which is creating your own work of theatre. We'll make some films, which is always a good thing to do. And we'll also study some great plays. We're going to look at So Much to Tell You, which is a John Marsden play that I believe is actually kind of uses All Saints as a model for the school that it's set in. And we're going to look at another one at the end of the year called Children of the Black Skirt, where the Year 10s will look at that, which is protest theatre. For Year 11, we have three parts of the course: theatrical traditions and performance styles. So the Commedia will be part of it, because you wouldn't have done Year 9 and 10, so we need to sort of get you up to speed on that. But we'll be looking at the Greeks, the Romans, and we'll also be going into the modern stuff like the Brechtian theatre, and into the sort of absurdist theatre. But we're looking into black comedy, we're looking to realism, we're looking to expressionism, we're looking to naturalism. It's extensive. Shakespearean theatre, which is Renaissance theatre, medieval theatre, tragic work, comedic work, theatre of the cruel. Just the list is huge, but we'll get into that, as well as musicals, by the way. We do study that. We'll also look into elements of production, which is part of this, which is how a theatre works, making it your instrument, making it work, how to do lighting, how to do sound, how to advertise properly for a piece of work, areas like that, costume design, makeup, set design. The list goes on there. And then, of course, we look into your own skills with play building and performance and acting. And you'll do a group piece and you'll do an individual piece. So we'll talk more about that as the work goes on. And then in Year 12, of course, you've got the big deal with the IP and the GP. And Year 11 is kind of like a dry run for all that. So you'll get used to it, and you'll get used to working with each other. And I'll get to see how which groups work together and what the dynamics are, and who are students who work well with each other and other students who might not do so much well with each other, and say, you go to a different group. Things like that. I manage that. I've been doing it for 2 decades. I've always been able to find students the right sort of mix in groups. Sometimes, it's harder than just saying, oh, you go there, but we'll get there in the end, so don't panic about that part of the course. I look forward to it. Thank you.